Hi, my name's RonStalenberg and I'm doing this as a kind of demonstration tape, if you like, for Corwin. So this presentation is about a third of the way into something that I've delivered previously with a few minor alterations and such to suit this new situation. Okay, so we're talking about a new curriculum in Kiribati, and up until now in this presentation we've gone through the general structure of the curriculum and generally the changes to the content and so forth for all of the subjects. But in addition to having a new curriculum as far as subject content is concerned, we're also talking about a new pedagogy. There's little point in having a brand new curriculum with new subject content and so forth unless we're actually going to alter and improve the way that we deliver that curriculum. So what we're looking at and what our national plan has demanded is that we have a very student-centred focus for this new junior secondary curriculum. But that then begs the question, what is student-centred learning? What do we actually mean by that? And in order to explore that, I'm going to divide you up into 4 groups, okay? So I'll just divide you as you're sitting there in the room. You've got group 1, 2, 3 and group 4. What I want you to do is to focus on a really good student-centred learning lesson that either maybe you have taught or that you observed at some stage. Maybe recently, maybe in the distant past, who knows. And then keeping that particular lesson in mind, each of the 4 groups has a slightly different task. So group 1 here, what I want you to focus on is what do you actually see the students doing? What's happening with the students? What are the kinds of things that they are doing? For the group at the back, I want you to focus on what the students are saying. What do you hear happening between the students? What's the talk that's happening between the students? What are they saying? What are the sorts of questions they're asking and so forth? What's the dialogue that's happening there? The third group, I'd like you to focus on what else can you see? What are the other behaviours that are happening in the classroom? What do you see around the classroom? What else do you see happening? And then, of course, the group here, group 4, I want you to think about and focus on what else do you hear, apart from the students, what else do you generally hear as to what's happening in the classroom, okay? All right, we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, so what I'd like now is if everybody would like to draw their attention back to the front, just round off your conversations if you would, and we'll get some feedback from your groups, okay? Now, if we start with the group here at the front, you were observing the students and you were looking particularly at what the students were doing, okay? So, can you give me some of your key ideas that you would have seen students doing? Yep. Okay, so you'll see students working in groups. Exactly. What else? What else do we like? Students solving some real-world problems, other sorts of problems as well. Yep, that's right. Students talking about the subject. Yep, we'll get more of that from the other groups. Students collaborating together, working together. Okay, excellent. That's right. Some creativity. Good. Excellent. Okay. All right. Thank you for that group. What about the group at the back? You're looking at observing what students were saying. Okay. So they're asking questions. What sort of questions? How? Why? That's right. Okay. Who? Exactly. All right. What else? Okay. Students will be debating. That's right. Perhaps even arguing, that's fine. And when they're doing that, yep, they're justifying. They're having to justify their opinions and their answers and so forth. What else will you hear? Students encouraging each other. Good, excellent. Students agree. Group at the back there, okay, what else will you have seen students doing? Yep, you'll see students actually taking risks. Good, yep. Exerting self-control, excellent. So they are taking a little bit of control over what they are actually doing. They're engaged, thank you, yeah. The teacher, right, exactly. The teacher is moving around and the teacher is no longer be teaching, but they're acting as a facilitator. Thank you. That's good. Students making decisions. Thank you. Excellent. Students showing good behaviour. Terrific. That's great. What else? Group at the front here. What else will you hear happening in the classroom? Students negotiating. Yep, that's right. Talking about current issues. Yep. General communication things happening. That's right. More questioning. Good. Okay. All right. So let's think about all of that now, and sort of talk a little bit about what it means. Okay. Thank you. Right. So one of the reasons we went through that little exercise is that if we're trying to improve learning, some of the research, a lot of the research in fact, has pointed to the fact that the best way of improving pedagogy, what teachers do in the classroom, is to in fact have a common language, a common set of principles, a common understanding of what really good teaching and learning, what good student-centeredness looks like. So you've just given me some sets of responses, right? And what we'll do is we'll now look at those and see if we can somehow from that create some categories or some way of classifying what happens in a good student-centered classroom. Okay? So if we come over here, okay, so over here we've got your answers that I wrote down as you were giving them. But you'll notice that as you were giving them, I didn't write them down in terms of group 1 answers, group 2, group 3, group 4. What I did was I tried to cluster them together into things that kind of had the same sense about them, the same sort of meaning or the same ideas. So over here we've got students working together, working in groups, relating to the real world, solving real world problems, posters around the classroom that show things from students' homes, things from students' background, their village, their community, and so on. And then we've got another set here, students being creative, justifying their answers, part of a debate, part of argument, having to justify their responses, exploring ideas, asking questions like why and how, debating, as I said, and being really, really focused on a particular core set of ideas. We'll talk about the other two in a minute. If we go back to this first group and think about all of this, we can give a name, if you like, to that group of observations, and what I call it is actually connectedness. Okay? And this group here, if we're talking about this, we're talking about students actually doing some really deep thinking here. Okay? Students exploring ideas, having to justify themselves, therefore have an opinion, but have evaluated something in the first place, asking questions like why and how, getting a little bit deeper into issues and so forth. And I'm going to call this intellectual demand. And if we go through these, and for the purposes of this display, I'm simply going to zip through them, and we have something here, and that's talking about quality relationships happening in the classroom. And then finally, all of these things here, I would have explained this earlier, is to do with student autonomy. And so what we've got here then are 4 sets of broad categories or principles that we can use now to guide how teachers plan the kinds of activities that they want to happen in the classroom, how teachers go find the resources, how teachers work in the classroom in terms of trying to draw students into the topic, but at the same time keeping that topic nicely related to the students and making sure there are some other things happening in the classroom that really facilitate their learning.